This is the deck tech for Leovold, Emissary of Trest. He currently sits on the commander ban list, but my thought is if you can't beat Leovold, then you just have a bad deck. So let's go ahead and get started on all the cards. Just give a quick overview of all of them. I'll go over them individually. All right, and just a comment on Leovold. You know, the way I see this as a commander card is that the reason why I play him in the first place is because for elves, I want to play this particular card, Edric, Spymaster. So I need to find a way to get a blue pip, and I like a lot of the green and black, or even just the black elves. So the fact that he is Sultai is good for me because it allows me to play the particular elves that I want to play. And the reason why Leovold is a good commander is that the first ability of each opponent can't draw more than one card each turn, that's like a great equalizer, because part of the problem as an elf player is that you're very exposed by playing so many creatures that it just takes one board wipe to really shut you down. So having a card like Leovold, it's kind of a mid-range card, but it's also a way to level the playing field against other decks that generate card advantage just through card draw. So I'm a big fan of that first aspect of it. And, you know, the fact that it's on a ban list, if it is a contention, one thing I will say is that I don't abuse this card in that I'm not playing windfall type of effects. So it's not like I'm playing this to all of a sudden get a tremendous advantage. No, I'm basically just playing this to, number one, enable all the elves that I want to play. And then number two, because it's a good way to deal with, powerful card draw engines. So, but again, it's just a 3/3 creature, so he's easy to remove. So if it goes back to my original thought, which is if your deck is not able to beat this card, then you have a bad deck. So, in my view, the problem is you, not me. Just wanted to get that out there. So I'm going to go over each card individually. So I'm going to stack up all the one drops first. All right, Crop Rotation. This card is fantastic. It's able to get me the card I want, Gaia's Cradle. Get it at instant speed. You can get it while you're going off during potentially a Glimpse of Nature turn. Oh, speaking of Glimpse of Nature, 1 green. Whenever you play a creature spell this turn, draw a card. This card is fantastic. It's a good way to make you the enemy number one at the table. Because I've had games before where I go off Glimpse for 8 or so, and all that did was I didn't win the game on the spot. I ended up becoming enemy number one, and then turns into a long drawn out game. But I'm a fan of cards that can get you tremendous card advantage, and this is one of them. Dark Ritual, classic. Green Sun Zenith, a very, very strong card in this deck. You can play it turn 1 for the Dryad Arbor, or you can. A lot of times I'm searching up Wire with Symbiote, because this is just a fantastic way for me to get value from my Enter the Battlefield effect elves, as well as untap elves like Priestess of Titania that can generate a lot of mana. So, and then of course, probably the best target, Craterhoof Behemoth. Essence Warden, just a 1 mana Soul Warden basically. Quarian Ranger, another way to untap my my mana creatures. Leovold Elves, Elvish Mystic. And here again, it's the Wirewood Symbiote. Great with Coiling Oracle. It's also great with Elvish Visionary, Elderfang Disciple. I mean, I got so many. Reclamation Sage, Finhorn Elves, Elves of the Deep Shadow, Taunting Elf, Elvish Lyrist, just enchantment destruction, Nettle Sentinel. This is great for Heritage, Druid, and Birchlore Rangers, being able to generate multiple mana in one turn, being able to untap it. So it's good. It's a good combo piece. Birchlore Rangers, you know, these two work great together because every one drop that I cast, I'm able to do it again because he untaps himself. Allosaurus Shepherd. Not a big fan of dinosaurs, obviously, because they're not real. But he's strong because allowing all my green spells to not be countered, but more importantly, late game, it's a way to deal lethal. Deathrite Shaman, a classic, a must in a black-green elf deck. Graveyard Hate, mana generation, damage, life gain. I mean, what more can you ask for? And then Heritage Druid. Alright, so now we're going to go to the 2-drops. Let me gather these together. Demonic Tutor. 2 mana, go get a Gaia's Cradle. Elvish War Master. Really good value. 2/2 that generates 1/1s each turn that I bring an elf into the battlefield, as well as the 7 mana pump spell. Eladamri, Lord of Leaves. It's too good not to play, but at the same time, it is a non-bow because me making elves Shroud is a problem for things like Wirewood Symbiote, Quarian Ranger, things where I want to try to actually target my creatures. I no longer can do that. So, you know, I can't not play this card because it is really, really good. You know, Forest Walk is no joke, but basically allowing my creatures to not be targeted is worth it for me to not be able to target them myself. So it's just something that you have to think about whether or not you should or should not be playing it if it's in your hand. Because there are times where you're going to want to say, it's actually not, it would hurt me more than help me. Priest of Titania, one of the best mana creatures in the deck. Maybe the best. Bloom Tender. Really good because when Leovold's out, he does tap for 3 and 3 different colors, which is good. Skinfar Avenger, another little card advantage card. Gives me some resilience. Elvish Clancaller, just a reasonably costed Anthem. Coiling Oracle. Since I am playing Sultai, I get to play it. It's basically just an Elvish Visionary with a little bit of upside. Minus the fact that it does require blue, so you need to make sure that you have the green-blue. But this is one of those good targets for Wirewood Symbiote because I can bounce it and replay it, get value turn over turn. Elderfang Disciple. I play this card because it targets each opponent. So in terms of card advantage, it's good because I'm, if it's a pot of 4 people, it's I play him and then 3 cards get discarded. So that's pretty good. Raphelos, Llanowar Emissary. This is another card that ended up on the ban list. I don't think it should be banned. Yes, it is good, but um, you know, I mean, what is Magic thinking when they're banning elf cards? I mean, this is embarrassing. But anyways, I own it. It's in my deck. I play a banned commander. You think I care about having Rafellos Llanowar Emissary in the deck? I own it. I'm playing it. Hey, and if you have a problem with banned cards, you can play one of my decks that have banned cards in it. I don't care. Don't matter to me. Elvish Visionary. Just a great card. Cantrip Elf. Also another good one, Leaf Crown Visionary. This is not only an anthem, but it does have card draw attached to it. So definitely a solid card in the deck. Dwynen's Elite. As long as you have an elf in play, he's a 2/2 and a 1/1. All right, so now we're going to go to the 3 drops. So let me gather those up. All right, so this is one of my 2 Planeswalkers in the deck, Tyvar Jubilant Brawler. And the reason why I've included this card in the deck in particular is that having this in the deck allows me to go off during a Glimpse of Nature turn or during a turn where I'm drawing a bunch of cards. Because if I'm able to play something like a Priest of Titania, I'm able to tap it the same turn I play it. So, while I'm drawing all those cards, I'm able to generate enough mana to cast the cards that I am drawing. So, by having him in the deck, it might not be as good as, say, I forget the other name of the card because I don't own it, but I believe it's called Concordant Crossroads. It's the 1 green enchantment where all creatures gain haste. I would say that might be a better selection than this, even though there is a major downside into giving your opponent's creatures haste. It would serve the same effect as why I play this card, which is I want to be going off on my turn. I don't want to be, passing the turn and then having my opponents get the opportunity to do a board wipe, in which case then I never get any of the value. This allows me to at least get the value out and potentially win on the same turn. So even though it doesn't allow me to attack, because I'm able to tap for mana from the mana creatures, I'm able to generate board states where I might be able to just lethal them out through life drain effects, which we'll go over shortly. This is a fantastic card draw spell for the Ancestors. You basically almost always name Elf. There will be occasions where maybe you need to name Beast, but it's a 3 mana where you gotta look at the top 6 in all elves. You gotta put into your hand, and it also does have flashback, so there's additional value from that. Lead the Stampede is the same type of thing, except for it doesn't require a creature type. You actually just get to look at the top 5 instead of the top 6, but it's still good enough where it's a 3 mana, draw 3 usually. Yawgmoth's Will. This is a fantastic card for those long drawn out games where you've gone through 1 or 2 board wipes and all of a sudden you play this and then you're able to redeploy everything that's already been destroyed. But there are also situations where you'll cast it during a combo turn so that you'll have multiple Glimpse of Natures going off, and then you're just drawing your whole deck. Rhystic Study. I play this because being able to play it on turn 2 is a very strong play. So turn 1 mana creature, turn 2 Rhystic Study, and then all of a sudden the elf player has the advantage because normally elves are concerned about running out of gas, and this will be able to help you fill up with some more gas. And it's on an enchantment axis, so typically you're worried about mass creature removal, but now they're also going to have enchantment removal to address your advantage. Galadrim Brigade. Just kind of a late game finisher. Wood Elves, it's pretty good mana fixing. Able to fetch up, you know, a bayou or a tropical island. Untapped, which is relevant. Edric, Spy Master of Trest, one of my favorite blue elves that not only does it generate you card advantage, but it gives incentive for opponents to attack other opponents. Because, you know, the way this reads is that as long as a creature deals damage to one of my opponents, that player's controller can draw a card. So, you know, if I have him on the board, you know, Timmy over here is going to want to be attacking Joey because then he'll get to draw a card. He's not going to want to attack me. So there is that. That being said, he usually is a target to get removed because, you know, you can't let Elves players just draw 7 cards and feel good about it. Viridian Shaman, just a Ukatabe orangutan, but he's an elf, so he definitely goes in the deck. Fierce Empath. So this card is great because it allows me to search up one of these 4 cards, all of which have value in their own ways. Craterhoof, a finisher. Disciple of Freylis, either a land or card draw, life gain. Soul of the Harvest, card draw, and then Progenitor Mimic. Progenitor Mimic is another good target because I have a lot of good targets for it where it's like, you know, I can put it on a Reclamation Sage, I could put it on one of the Enter the Battlefield elves that you'll see shortly. So anyways, a good card. This could be played in non-elf decks as well, so it's something to consider for other decks. Azuri, Renegade Leader. He's very versatile, can regenerate other elves, and then also create lethal through its overrun effect. Elvish Archdruid, an Anthem plus a lot of mana. Nissa, Vastwood Seer. Well, I guess I gotta show the flip of that. So he enters, you put a forest into your hand from your library. Then if you have 7 or more lands, he does flip into a planeswalker. So a little bit of additional value beyond just cantripping a forest. Set that over here. Eladamri, Corvectol. Having this in play is a good way to generate card advantage through casting creatures off the top of my deck, as well as putting in at instant speed during my turn, of course, the you know, a big beater like a Soul of the Harvest or something like that. Elvish Champion gives me Forest Walk as well as an Anthem effect. Circle of Dreams Druid, taps for a bunch of mana. Reclamation Sage, disenchant on an elf, fantastic card. Marwyn the Nurturer, a unique elf because it pumps, it itself gets big, whereas elves are typically known for making other elves bigger. So he's an interesting card, but good enough to get in the 99. Shaman of the Pack. So this is one of the ones where it's a decent target for Progenitor Mimic, but it's a way to win outside of combat. So on turns where I'm drawing my deck, but I don't necessarily have enough creatures to generate lethal, this would be a card where I could play this last and then maybe bounce it, play it again, or Progenitor Mimic, just as a way to, you know, finish off one opponent. Imperious Perfect, another Anthem effect, as well as a way to generate tokens and go wide. And then, of course, the Commander Leovold. So now we're going to go to the 4 drops. So let me grab all those. So we'll start with some card draw. Guardian Project. Since this is a singleton format, it will always trigger with my non-token creatures. Natural Order. The 4 mana, sack a creature, get a Crater Hoof. Well worth it. Elven Ambush. So this is a new addition to my deck. I found that this would help me out with generating lethal for the life drain effects, but it just works so well with Gaia's Cradle that I'm like, you know what, 4 mana, instant speed, I'll take it. This is a card that could get cut at some point because 4 mana for an Anthem is not really what I want to be doing in Elves. I feel like that should be 3 or less since I have some that cost 2. So it costing 4 is a little off-putting. It does have reach. In the life gain could in some situations be relevant. But you know, as new Elves get released, this is definitely one that's going to be on the chopping block at some point. Like for instance, when Lorwyn releases, I'll put in Mutable Explorer over this all day, every day, because for me, a 3 mana Wood Elves that gives me a Mutavault is better than, you know, waiting one additional turn for this slow Anthem effect. But you never know when you might need reach. Tyvar the Bellicose gives my Elves Death Touch, as well as can make some of my Elves get huge if it's like a Circle of Dreams Druid or a Priestess of Titania. Lathril Blade of the Elves. This is a good card. It's not as good in my deck because I'm not a dedicated, you know, go wide deck. I'm basically a Sultai card advantage, all the best Elves deck. So, you know, I like having this in the deck because it is an alternate win condition. But again, it's not like, you know, if you play a dedicated Lathril Blade of Elves deck, Lathril in that deck is going to be a lot better than Lathril is in my deck, you know. And that's mainly because its ability of tap 10 untapped Elves is not as easy to achieve in mine versus some of the other dedicated Lathril decks. That being said, it's still worthy of the 99. Skimfar, Shadow Sage. So this one is really good because it targets each opponent. So in terms of like a finisher, this is a really good finisher because, you know, Shaman of the Pack only targets one. Skimfar Shadow Sage targets all of them. So play him, bounce him, play him again, and then all of a sudden you just win. Now this is another fantastic card draw spell. Beast Whisperer. Whenever I cast a creature spell, draw a card. So great in this deck. Play it in other decks as well. Diana's Elvish Archdruid. So this ends up allowing my mana creatures to tap for, you know, do it again basically. And, you know, the +1/+1 counter doesn't really matter, but me being able to tap my creatures twice in one turn is why it's in the deck. So still worth it. Oracle of Moldiah. This is pretty narrow because, you know, it is a 4 mana elf. I'm not a big fan of 4 mana elves, but I play it anyways because it synergizes really well with the with this Eldamri. Because if I'm able to clear off a land on top of my deck so that I can find that creature to cast it off the top of my deck, and to maybe play another land off the top of my deck, to then play another creature off the top of my deck, you know, it ends up being pretty good synergy. And it's an elf deck, so I feel entitled to play it. And I enjoy playing it in other decks. Now, granted, I only play 30 lands, so I'm not getting a ton of value with playing additional lands on my turn. But there are situations where if I'm on a combo turn where I'm drawing a bunch of cards, being able to play 2 lands is particularly relevant when I play these 3 lands, because any one of them by themselves can tap for a bunch of mana, so being able to play a second one can be huge. Sylvan Messenger. He does whiff on occasion, but not often enough to not play it. So, still worth it. But again, it's a 4-mana elf, so it's tough to be playing these types of cards, because you want to stay really low to the ground, so the cheaper they cost, the better. So the more expensive they get, they better be doing something really good. But, you know, the card advantage means that I'm going to keep it in the deck. All right, so now we're on to the five drops. There's only 2 of them. Shamanic Revelation, card draw, as well as life gain, because if I do have enough Anthem effects, I end up gaining life. One of the few removal spells in the deck, Gilt Leaf Winnower. It is conditional, so that's not great, but it's good enough that I play it. Certainly something that could be cut at some point, but for the time being, I like it. 6 drops. So we got our second and last Planeswalker. This is just a good card draw card, because I play so many creatures that the +1 usually is going to hit something. As well as the -3. There are situations where, you know, you might play it and then you may even -3 it right away to basically cast a 6-mana Craterhoof. But generally speaking, you want to be doing the +1 on this card. And then we already went over some of these 6 drops, but Progenitor Mimic, copy one of the good cards. Usually something like a Rex Sage, Skemfar, Shadow Sage, Shaman of the Pack. Sometimes it can be as bad as a Coiling Oracle. You never know. It's just, but it is something that you can Green Sun Zenith for, since it is a green creature, but you can also get it from that Fierce Empath. Soul of the Harvest, a way to get card advantage. Have him out, and all of a sudden all the elves that are in my hand are now Elvish Visionaries. Disciple of Freylis, a way to get some card advantage, but it's also versatile because of the fact that it can also be a land. And then, of course, Craterhoof Behemoth. This is an elf classic. This is how you win your games 99% of the time. So he will forever be a staple in elves. All right, so now just to go over the lands real quick, because we don't got many. We got only 30 lands. This is a very, very lean deck. Since so many of my creatures tap for mana, you don't typically want many lands, because flooding in an elf deck is just a recipe for disaster. So we got 4 green fetches plus 1 polluted delta. We got duels, shocklands, 7 forests, 1 swamp, 1 island. I'm not a big fan of having to play swamp and island, but you know, the way I design my decks is I design my decks to beat my other decks, and my other decks play cards like Blood Moon. They play back to basics. So, you know, I feel compelled to play at least 1 basic of each, so that, you know, this particular deck, this Elves deck, can compete against my other decks. So, you know, just something to think about. So we got our 3 ritual lands. One is Wirewood Lodge. Does not tap for green, but it's still in the deck because being able to untap one of my big mana creatures is worth it to me. So I play it. Nykthos. This is a slightly better Wirewood Lodge. And then the best, Gaia's Cradle. Clearly the best card in the deck, Gaia's Cradle. All right, and then just to wrap up the last lands, we got Cavern of Souls, Painland, Yavimaya Coast, Painland, Llanowar Waste, Zagoth Triome. This is the Sultai fetch target. Now, it does come into play tapped, so there are situations where you're going to want to actually search this out over, say, a bayou or over, say, a tropical island, and that is to get rid of the tap land, because if you draw this later on, it's going to come into play tapped later on. So, Woodland Cemetery. This is a conditional dual land. Not great. May get cut at some point. Gilt-Leaf Palace. Same sort of thing. But I play enough elves that I'm like, you know what? I'll keep it in. Dryad Arbor. Can get this off of a fetch land. Can get it off of Green Sun Zenith. Usually a good target to sacrifice for Natural Order. Sorry, I froze for a second there. Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. I like having this in the deck for all my Forest Walk effects. You know, making elves unblockable. And then Boseiju, Who Endures. Legendary land, taps for green. And then, of course, the ability to turn it into a conditional disenchant, or even a non-basic. It's a good card. It's definitely not worth the price tag, but I got it now, so. All right. So again, this is the deck tech for Leovold, Emissary of Trest. I do hope that they make a change at some point. Like, the fact that this card is banned, it blows my mind, because again, I do subscribe to the belief that if you can't beat this card, then fundamentally there's something wrong with your deck. Because, you know, elves is a very fun archetype to play, but it's glass cannon in the fact that if you get hit by one or multiple mass removal spells, you get in trouble real fast. And I feel like this card is needed because being able to stop card draw, at least temporarily while he's in play, is a nice little equalizer for an otherwise weak archetype. You know, of course, that is my opinion. And again, I don't do anything broken with this card. You know, if I wanted to abuse this card, I certainly could. I could build a Leovold Emissary of Trest deck that just focuses solely on the opponent can't draw more than one card each turn, and then just abuse that. But that's not, you know, that's not how I play elves. I play elves just like how Legacy Elves used to play it, where you just try to glimpse off and then get a lethal combat step. Whereas, you know, I've designed this deck to have a little bit more resiliency because I have a lot of different card draw spells. So I can try to compete with the other decks that aren't as susceptible to, you know, Wrath of God type of effects. So anyways, this again is my take on Sultai Elves. And if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to let me know. Thank you.